Hi there, I'm Jody Rogers, and we're on day 73 of our 100 Days to Creating a Clear 2020 Vision. Today's topic, share your thoughts. You've probably seen one of those variety shows or talent shows where a magician comes on and claims he can read someone's thoughts, and he goes through a trick and actually proves to the audience that he can. Well, in our day-to-day life, people can't read our thoughts. We really need to share with them what we're thinking. It's funny, after 23 years of marriage, I know my husband can't read my mind, and he knows he can't read my mind. But the other day I was excitedly sharing something in the car, and as I was trying to, express my final points, he cut me off and added, his responses, trying to finish my sentence, and I was like, no. And then I continued to start, and again he interrupted me and tried to assume what I was going to say, and I said no. And I finally said, look, we both know you can't read my mind. I wish you could. At times I really do, but you can't. So just stop and let me explain. And I don't say that to be rude, but the reality is, even if you're really empathetic, you might know how someone's feeling, you might be high in intuition, you really can't read someone's mind. And so it's really key that you let people and that you ask for them to share their thoughts, because our perception is our reality, but that reality is different depending on your perception or on other people's perceptions around you. So I'm going to share with you a really awesome phrase taken from Brene Brown that says, "The story in my head is blank." And that allows you to share what you're thinking and paint a picture for the other person as to what's actually going on. So there are no assumptions and no misconceptions and no different perceptions, or perceptions are kind of made more clear. So Brene uses an example to basically show how the story playing in her head was that her husband doesn't love her anymore because she's old and maybe overweight. And the story in his head in the exact same scenario was he feared for the safety of his kids. So you can see that what was happening, they were in the same situation, but their perception was so misaligned. It was like that. And that's what can happen to us. So last night I was having a bit of a disagreement with my husband. Something had taken place over the previous hour and a half, and I had created this story in my head, and I was kind of frustrated by it. And well, he had created a story in his head. And so I said to him, as we were trying to, share our sides of what happened and try to make the other person understand and see where we're coming from, I finally said, okay, let's just finish this sentence. The story in my head is. And so I proceeded to tell him what was going on in my head. What was I thinking? How was I perceiving what had just taken place? And then it was his turn. And he completed that, the story in my head is phrase. And he shared what was going on in his mind and in his perception. And you know what? We actually got some great insight into what the other was feeling. And instead of our little disagreement escalating into something, meaningless, as arguments often do, we were able to understand where the other person was coming from and, deflate that and help them to see that the story that they had created was actually false. So don't leave it to intuition. Don't leave it to mind reading. Share your thoughts, especially with those you love. Do you have a teenager that you're not connecting with? Did you argue with your spouse? How's your relationship with your mom or your dad? If there's a perception that needs to be shared about a situation that took place, practice Brene Brown's "The story that's playing in my head is," and just watch the insight break through. Share your thoughts. I'm Jody Rogers. Thanks so much for watching today. Be sure to come back for more great tips on creating your 2020 vision. See you tomorrow.